All right, here come the stimulus checks for the markets. Here come the buyers. A very good week for the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P 500. Now, all of this was happening at the same time we were seeing interest rates back up. A 30-year fixed mortgage now is hovering over 3%. Gasoline prices have been rocketing, a sign again of an improving economy. So the sort of like the backstop for all of this is the fact that this is all happening in an environment where jobs are looking up, retail sales are looking up, auto sales are looking up, airlines are buying more planes and looking at expansion in the second half of the year. There are hints that Broadway could reopen maybe as soon as late summer, early fall. So all anecdotal evidence to suggest that we're firing up. But there is a flip side on firing up. It costs you more. So is that going to be a problem? Depends on how much more we're talking about. Let's go to Aaron Gibbs of Gibbs Wealth Management. We got Dan Geltrude back with us, CPA, market analyst, Rebecca Walser Wealth Management. Guys, thank you very much for coming in and joining me today. Rebecca, first off on this idea, the fear of good times, because the stock market by and large likes it. Especially economically sensitive issues that dominate the Dow, the Nasdaq a little less. So is it good that things are looking good?
I think it absolutely is. It's good that things are looking good, Neil. I mean, certainly we'd rather be here than where we were this time last March. That's for sure. But I do think that the Federal Reserve and the government has a tricky balance on their hands because they know that the economy is going to start reopening. And we have seen really positive numbers, retail, all the things you just mentioned. Yet, we still know that a lot of states aren't at full capacity. People aren't yet feeling comfortable enough to maybe make their summer travel plans. And so the truth is that the Federal Reserve is stimulating $120 billion per month, and yet we are starting to reopen, and that's the inflationary pressure that we're starting to see. And it is a concern. And what's the delicate balance to stimulate but not overstimulate to the point we get inflation?
You know, Aaron, as we've been talking through the pandemic, and I appreciate all of you guys' help through the pandemic, talking about the ups and downs in the markets, I've always held the view, and it's probably risky, all of you should run the other way, that it's decided at the pace of coming out of this pandemic. So the more good news we get on vaccinations, the more hopeful developments, including the president saying that by the beginning of May, he wants to see that all American adults have been vaccinated. I think that's the wind at the markets back, the wind at investors back, because it allows everything else to happen. The reopenings in Texas, the expanded reopenings in states like Missouri, whose governor I'll be talking to in just a second. What do you make of that, Aaron, that this is still decided by the course of this virus? And that looks good.
It is. And well, we're seeing some rebound already just in the first quarter, but it is very much based on the fact that we get back to business as normal, like you've said, around the second half of the year. And that's where we're really looking for most of the company's profits to return to normal levels, if not even higher levels in 2019. We're just wiping out 2020. It's really about everybody going back to business as normal and spending like normal and going back to flying and traveling and so on.
You know, Dan, virtually every major group, including the airlines, to which Aaron just alluded, very optimistic things will pick up. And maybe in the case of the airlines, smarting a little when the CDC recommended that maybe not everyone jump in a plane right now and fly. But even allowing for that, optimistic enough in a couple of cases where for them to buy more jets and still, in more cases, to hang on to the folks that they have because they got some help with this stimulus. How do you see it all sorting out?
Well, Neil, for the sake of this conversation, because I'm generally an optimist, I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach here. So while everything is looking great, this is going to come down to basic economics of supply and demand. So as things are looking better, there is plenty of pent-up demand that's on the way. People are going to want to get out. They're going to want to spend. They're going to want to do things. Great. So as demand goes up, can the supply meet that demand? And we've already seen that businesses that are struggling are going to need some time to be able to catch up. So it's going to take a while. And that difference, Neil, between the supply and demand is what's going to trigger inflation. So to your point at the beginning of the segment, are things going to be more expensive? So this free money that's being given out through stimulus, well, there's another side to this. things are going to get more expensive, and therefore this free money is actually going to end up being used because of inflation.
You know, Rebecca, when we were rifling through a lot of these things that have picked up in price, I noticed fruits and vegetables are rocketing. Not an issue for me. I don't like them. But cheese, when I saw that rocketing, I said, that's it. Game over right there. So, you know, I say in a funny way to address a finer point here. There is a way you could pivot in an economy like our own. If you notice one area is going up, you find an alternative there. You know, if the price of chicken is going up, you zero in on processed foods. I know not healthy, but it is an option. You know what I mean? Like, and in its sophisticated age, there are ways people can deal with that price hike. How do you see this going?
Well, I do think that America needs to prepare because there are some food shortages globally that are going to have. I don't know if you guys are aware of all the locusts that were all over the world last year. It was almost biblical. And so that's going to affect the global food
Dan
supply.
was very big on the locusts last year, and I have no idea why, but it's a very good point. But go ahead.
And I just want to add, Neil, I want to caution all of these people that are in charge, the politicians and the health administrators across the states and the federal government. Because I have a problem with people that are getting their double dose of vaccines and they're still being told, you still need to wear a mask, you still need social distance. If you're going to keep treating us like we're in the virus, then don't expect people to act like we're not, which means traveling, summer plans, getting out there, going to concerts. Don't act like we're still in the virus if we're not, and we're supposed to be getting back to normal. Let us get back to normal. We cannot perpetuate this forever and get back to normal, and we have to, and I agree with Aaron on that.
All right. I want to explore that with you guys a little bit later on. Again, how we psych ourselves for the new psyche that says we are coming out of this. In the meantime here,